Really?
Let's do that.
Very surprising.
I've heard that you've been tracking some of Greek descent myself. I was born in Lesbos, a island in the Aegean Sea, and I've heard that you've been to Greece.
Oh, Greece, tremendous. Tremendous people, Greece. You see, they're very traditional. They're very traditional people and they understand this, you see. And you had such great philosophers like Socrates. So, I mean, it's all inbuilt within them. Absolutely. And they're very subtle people also. They understand serenity. I mean, the whole of Europe, I never heard this word anywhere except in Greece. The word serenity. It's beautiful.
Could you tell me what's the core of your philosophy?
See, the philosophy is actually the practical side of it. Whatever has been the philosophy so far, that you have to know yourself, know thyself. Also Socrates said the same thing. And Christ said the same thing, that you have to be born again. All the scriptures, all the saints have said you have to be born again or you have to know yourself. Now how to do it? See, how to achieve it was the problem, which now is being solved. Not only that it's solved for one person, but solved for many, because you can do it en masse. Because we have a power within us. I think the Greeks knew about it, because they called this triangular bone as sacrum, meaning sacred. So they knew there's this power, sacred power inside that. And this is the power when it is awakened and passes through 6 subtle centers, pierces through your fontanelle bone area. You get in touch with that all-pervading subtle power about which all these saints have talked. And then you start feeling the cool breeze on your fingertips. Also you start feeling the cool breeze on top of your head. Then this power gives you a new dimension to your central nervous system. You see, early Christians called themselves Gnostics. Now, in Sanskrit language means to know. I used to call it same thing.
How do you get to know yourself?
Yes. Now, this is what happens, that yourself is, the seat of yourself is here, but is reflected in your heart. And as soon as this happens, first of all, you come to know about your subtle centers, which are within, which you do not know so far. On your fingertips, you know. These are all sympathetic nervous system centers, which are expressed on the right and the left hand. So, whatever is the problem, you can feel it on your fingertips. So, you know at least the centers that you have. Now, these centers are for your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual being. So, immediately you find out what's the problem with you. Then also you develop another dimension on your central nervous system, that you become collectively conscious. Means you can feel others. You can feel everyone, what's the problem with that person, only on the centers. When that happens, and if you know how to correct it, you can cure diseases, you can cure mental troubles, and whatever is promised, when you become the spirit, you become the witness, you become the peaceful personality, and also you become joy.
But in practical terms, how do you start? What do you do first?
It's very simple. It's a living process of evolution. As we have become human beings, we can also become superhuman beings, not so difficult. But only it's like this, that one enlightened candle can enlighten another. That's all. So supposing I
want to be enlightened.
Yes,
what do I do?
Nothing. You just have to put hands like this and you get it. Once you get it, you just practice it a little bit and understand all the permutations and combinations. Then you can give it to others. It's so simple as that.
You believe that there are no problems, that human beings cannot handle. Is that so?
So many problems. First of all, they are not at all collective by temperament. They are collective outside. Now, supposing you follow any religion whatsoever, you can commit any sin. There's no bondage. But once it happens, you just become absolutely righteous. Just don't do wrong things. Become so powerful and so compassionate. Oh, so many diseases which are incurable are cured by this.
Could you expand a bit on this?
How it happens?
How it
Curing.
happens, yes.
It's very simple. Like this is the left and the right side. Left sympathetic and right sympathetic. In the center is the parasympathetic nervous system. Now these are the centers, we can say, at different positions in the spinal cord and also in the brain. Now what happens? That any disease is caused by the constriction of these centers. Now supposing you are using your left side, means you are very emotional, try to think of your past and all that. But supposing.
Exactly. Could you take a photo from that side? Because that's exactly what.
That's what I was going to do some after.
Yeah. Tell me more.
Just keep interviewing and then I'll do some afterwards.
Yes, I'm very emotional. How can I control it?
I could see that
How
out
can
of your
I-
centers I can feel that you are an emotional personality.
Yes, I don't like to overreact. How do I cope with this situation?
That's what I'm
Because
saying.
I'm
Now
over-
what happens? The right side is the one which balances it here, now the left and the right. But you start moving out because you use too much of left. So the control of the right is gone, the balance is lost. Apart from that, sometimes you may just break. And then all kinds of diseases can start on its own. And you cannot control it because there's no connection with the whole.
So you need what? Self-discipline?
No, nothing. You just have to get realization so that this power, which I call as Kundalini, which is placed in the sacrum bone, rises, passes through this and integrates them. And pierces through this so that you become in contact with the mains, you can say. Like any machinery has to become in contact with the mains. You become in contact with that all the time. You feel very energetic, very dynamic, and very compassionate, very righteous, and you enjoy your virtues.
So what do I say to my readers that they want to be enlightened? How do they start? I still don't get it.
You just come to my programs and it will happen. I'll do it for them and then they have to do it for others. That's all. It will work out in the programs.
Right. I believe you are traveling all the time. And have you been in every part of the world?
But yes, I am.
And I believe that you had a great success. But personally, are you satisfied with the results?
Very much. Even in Russia, I was very much satisfied. Russian people are the best. Turned out to be the best. Who never believed in God, no religion, nothing. But such a clean slate. It's wonderful people. Even the government has accepted us there. Even in India, because there are 3 doctors who got their MD for Sahaja Yoga. Like the way they cured psychosomatic diseases, epilepsy, asthma, so many diseases. Even in Russia, we have cured something.
What's the place of the God in your philosophy?
God is everywhere. Without him, nothing. This power, all-pervading power, is his own power of love. So God is everything.
But you don't seem to approve of the way that the various religions interpret the role of God, or the way that...
Human interpretations are wrong, absolutely, because they are money-oriented. But actually, if you see the interpretation of God, is you should go to the incarnations, to the people who established it, to Christ. Say, if you are a Muslim, then ask Muhammad. Muhammad himself has said, your hands will speak when the resurrection will come. He said it.
What went wrong with Christianity, for instance? I'm an Orthodox Christian.
You see, Christianity is I was also born in a Christian religion, so no problem to explain that. That Christ has said that you have to be born again. But it's a social thing, only it's just a social. And Christians can go to any limit of doing all kinds of wrong things, converting people. Like in India, they came with a gun in one hand and a Bible in the other hand. So this kind of thing. Imagine Christ. And what Christ has said in a very subtle way. Thou shalt not have adulterous eyes. It's very difficult to find Christians without adulterous eyes. So we have missed the point. We are not following Christ. We are following some sort of a Christianity which was later on made by Paul, maybe more organizational. You cannot organize God. You cannot pay for it.
Yeah, but how many Sahaja yogis there are all over the world? Do you know? How many followers do you have?
I don't know. They have already crossed the mark. What John has said about 144,000, he said we have already crossed that mark. So I don't know.
144,000.
Yeah, maybe more. Because we are in 40 nations.
Forgive my ignorance, but in what way Sahaja Yoga differs from the other forms of
Yoga. Other yogas are just the we part of it. Patanjali wrote about Hatha Yoga. He didn't write about this standing on the head's business and all that. That's just a we part of it. But Hatha Yoga means Hatha, means you have to deal with your right side as well as with your left side. But they just deal with the right side, and physically you may feel fit, but such a person can become very dry, might get heart attacks, and it's very one-sided life. But he talked about the same thing as I did, was to get to your state of your mind in thoughtless awareness and doubtless awareness. We do the same thing. Then another yoga is Raja Yoga, is another very prevalent thing, which is also a very, I should say, very mechanical thing. Like unless and until you ignite the car, the machines won't work. But the modern Raja Yoga is like this, that you move the wheels without starting the car. So in Sahaja Yoga we start the car, and then we find out what's wrong with you, and then we correct it. It's the other way around. And that's why they cut the tongues of people, Raja Yoga, and push them back. Because it happens when Kundalini rises, you won't feel it, nobody feels it. But the tongue is a little bit pulled in, a little bit to hold the flow of Kundalini. But that doesn't mean you cut your tongue and push it back. And there are people who are wagging their tongues in Los Angeles, some good doctors from it. Horrible things these yogas have done.
And what place has the exercise in your...
Not much. Exercise should be for just for a little bit, not much is needed. If you want for your health, it's all right, but not too much of it. Also not good because it puts a strain on your right side. For example, I have to have a lot of water in my body, otherwise how will I manage? Because I'm dealing with people and I'm to be protected. So it's all right, I accept it. But these days everybody wants to be like mosquitoes.
What do you think of the state of the world as it is today?
Now one problem is solved because Gorbachev is an enlightened man. So one problem is solved to a great extent because he has withdrawn from one side. So the other side doesn't know whom to fight now. So they are also sitting back. So this world tension is much less. In a way, also when I went to Russia, actually there were all these Eastern Bloc was there, all of them. And I gave all of them realization. When they came back to their own countries, the Berlin Wall fell down. So the enlightenment gives you strength and sense of honor, just fell down. And so now that problem is partially or quite a lot is solved. But the second problem is of fundamentalism. Everybody thinks they are chosen ones and they think they are the best. They are all just the same, no difference.
Are you talking about the politicians or
everyone, whatever religion they may follow, fundamentalist. You see, we are the best. Then the politicians. Politicians, I don't think they believe in God. That God exists really. If they believe, they would have understood that God resides in human beings and we have to look after that. That's the first duty. It will happen. People will start coming. We'll have people like Gorbachev. Then things will change.
So you are optimistic of...
Very optimistic, very optimistic. Because such a transformation is taking place. And if human beings are transformed, things will be transformed completely. All the mess is because of us.
But are you happy with the right that this transformation is taking place? the rate, the speed, is it a slow process? Are you happy with the speed, the process, the rate that this change takes place? Or is it too slow, or would you like
It started very slow to begin with because it's a living process. See, if you have to produce one flower, it takes time, real flower. But plastic flowers, you can produce any number. But now it's taken over, I think. The speed has increased very much everywhere. It's progressing very fast. And things will work out. But what we need is this certain number of people in any country, and it will trigger out. It's like that 100-monkey phenomena, as you call it. That kind. That has to happen. A certain number of people have to really become established, and the whole thing will be transformed.
In which part of the world your theory, Sahaja Yoga, is spread more than other parts of the world?
Of course, in India.
India, yes.
India is the maximum.
Apart from India.
Indians are very they have these basics with them. But I should say the best Sahaja now are in Austria. They have very good Sahaja in Austria. And also we have in now Russia, I should say. Can you imagine that Germans went to Russia to give them enlightenment to Russians? Germans. Such a change.
What the Western Germans.
Germans are from Germany. We have disciples there in Germany. They all went down, rushed to Russia to help them out. Remarkable.
So, what are you going to do during your visit here, apart from giving lectures?
I'll have programs. I think we have 2 programs tomorrow and day after. There I'll give enlightenment to people. It works amas. It works amas.
Can you give enlightenment to me now?
They're all enlightened people sitting here.
What about me? I'm not.
I'll give it. I'll give it. I'll give it.
I would love to be
Yes,
enlightened.
that's very great. That's why Greeks are very good. When I went to Athens, now Athena word comes from the primordial mother. Atha in Sanskrit means primordial. So Athens is very much there. And when I went there, you should have seen the hall. And even when we had the hall, the gentleman who owned it came down. He said, "Better stop now. There's so many people. We can't have it under certain laws." But the people were shouting. It's a big problem there. 2 days I
They're
had.
very emotional Greeks.
Very. And apart from that, they are seeking truth. Very sincere about it. They don't care for other things much. Beautiful people. We have a lawyer there who's looking after Stavatis. He's looking after them.
And do you feel that temperament has anything to do with the enlightenment? The type of temperament a person has?
No, nothing. You get into balance itself. Balance is to be established. I mean, of course, as you said, you are emotional. And also Greeks are very emotional people. I mean, when they saw me, there were tears in their eyes, you see. And then gradually they settled down and things worked. Most of them got realization. Thousands. Greeks were great, I must say. I was so happy that you are coming here. I was very happy to hear that. Because I know Greeks are the ones who will touch very fast. See, Greeks, Egyptians, Indians, Italians
You think
are
that
ancient people.
they are tuned that way, they are seeking the truth? And
Yes, because they are very ancient people. So they have been doing this, you see, trial and error and trial. And that's how they are sort of at a point. They have reached at a point where they think that now we must find it out. What is it? Such philosophies you had.
When were you in Greece? How long ago?
About, I think about 8 months back. 8 months back. Because I travel the whole year round. And summertime I'm traveling in Europe. And winter time I'm traveling in India.
And you always get the same satisfaction and the positive results with...
In the beginning it was not, because it's too fantastic to believe. You see, people were not so. But still, I must say, everywhere. I started with one lady, and now it's going to be, I started 1970, 5th May, slowly. Now it's about 19 years completed in May.
What do you do with people that are skeptical about your philosophy?
I don't bother about that. You see, you cannot force it on anyone. You cannot force, you cannot convince it. It's not mental. It has to be asked for. Then it works. It is, gradually they also come. Because they see the results on other people, they see the results on their friends and all that, the change, the transformation, and the beauty of their temperament, and then they come themselves. But, you see, we cannot force it on anyone. Cannot be forced. That's the only problem.
What position, what place materialism has in your philosophy?
Materialism has to have a balance. It has to have a balance. You see, we are in balance. Like, produce plastic, so much that we produced so much of mountains of plastic. Then this machinery, you see, machinery is for us, we are not for machinery. There has to be a balance for everything. But there's no balance, and that's why we have gone into this problem of ecology and all that.
But you don't see any harm in having some comfort in life, which the material things give us.
In a way they do, in a way they don't. It's a headache also. So sometimes to have material things with you. But the comfort you seek of your spirit. Of course, I mean, you can live very comfortably, no problem. The way you want to live, you can live. You don't have to run away from your house. You don't have to live in jungles, nothing. You can live very comfortably, whichever you like. But actually, I have seen after realization, people seek the comfort of the spirit. It's all right. If it is there, it's there. Now, I must say, I come from a rich family. My husband is rich and my parents are rich and all that. So I have lots of comforts in my family. But I can live anywhere. You send me to a jungle, I can be there. I can be anywhere. I enjoy everything.
So part of your philosophy is to adapt to various situations.
No, we don't force on anything, just automatically it happens. You see, people are used to alcoholism, drugs, this, everything drops out. Just I don't tell them, just because you become the spirit, in the light of spirit. And whatever spirit enjoys, that's you like. You are more worried about that. And matter is for expression of your love, so that you can give it to others. Even when we want to wear a good dress or want to keep a good house or anything, it is just we want to please others innately. Not for our sake. We don't do all this for our sake. We do it for others. Actually, one has to work very hard to keep the house clean and make it beautiful and all. We don't mind. Because really, innately we want to please others. And then ultimately it happens that by giving others or by expression through the matter, we can say, I love you very much.
Tell me, if you are after progress and you want to progress and develop as a person in your sphere, in your profession, and we all know that in order to do this, you have to be tough in today's world. What do you think about that?
You see, love is such a great power that you don't have to be tough at all. It works.
But the others are tough, so if you want to survive...
No, you survive through the power, the subtle power, which is love. It looks after you. You don't have to be at all tough.
But I find myself, if I'm unkind to the others all the time, the others take advantage of me in my profession.
It's true, but when you get your realization, you'll be surprised. You'll be in the kingdom of God. And everything will be done in such a way that you'll be amazed how things work out. Today only these musicians have come and they were telling me that they were very hard with us. When we entered, they wouldn't give us the immigration because some were not graduates, the artists were not graduates. And just they saw them, and these people just in their heart said, no, we have to go somehow. And immediately everything changed and they got it. Everything works out. And every one of them can tell you the story, how things worked out in their lives and how everything is so beautiful.
Right. Do you think that mind and soul, I'm a bit confused, mind and soul are two different things? I mean, sometimes you say, I said to myself, don't do it. Are we divided? Do we have two selves?
Yes.
We do.
There's a disintegration. But with this you get integrated. Whatever you feel, you do it and enjoy it. It's just that. You get completely integrated. And you know the absolute truth also, because whenever you want to find out the truth, you can just put your hands and find out. So you know the absolute, what is right. You do that, you are all right, no problem.
But who is telling me what to do? I mean, are two selves within me?
Yes, there are already. The one is the ignorance, one is the knowledge. But the knowledge has not come into the light. Once the knowledge comes in, you can feel it on these. There are vibrations, you can feel it, cool breeze. And that tells you. Supposing there's a man who wants to cheat you, immediately you feel the heat from that man.
How come that sometimes I struggle with myself? I know that what I'm going to do is, or to say rather, because I'm an impulsive person, I know what I'm going to say, it's not right, and probably it's going to hurt the other person, and it's going to hurt me as a result as well. But I can't help not doing it, not saying it, which gives me I realize that there are two people, there are two selves inside me.
But that becomes one now. So that whatever you do, you don't mind. It's all right. If somebody hurts you, it's all right. You don't feel it. It's all right. But you say, whatever.
How can I surprise the other person? What happens to the other self that I feel that it is there and I don't always approve?
Doesn't matter. You don't have to worry. It will all work out. You don't have to mentally make them approve. It works out. You see, and sometimes the desires, which do not sometimes, you see, sometimes I'm going in the car and you get lost. Then I think I have to be lost. There's something to be done here. I have to pass through this lane. It's all right.
So even the hardships that we have in life, they have a positive
Absolutely.
aspect.
Whatever you do, you know that is for your good. You just don't bother. You keep in a very joyous mood and you don't worry about it. There must be something. Why am I here? Why this happened? All right, there must be something. Let's see. You become a witness of the whole drama. Like in a drama, you are watching, this event has come. Now, what must be the reason? Then it shows you in the same way. Everything starts unfolding beautifully.
What do you believe is the role of human beings on earth?
Pardon?
What is the role of human beings on earth?
So,
The role. What's the purpose, the meaning of life?
is
I
to,
mean-
is to enjoy. That's all.
And to your body.
To
You
enjoy.
believe in reincarnation?
Yes, enjoy the bounties of God and to spread the news of God and to give realization to people and to evolve them. That's the purpose.
And you believe in reincarnation, that when we are done?
Yes, we are reincarnated, no doubt.
Mhm.
We've been born again and again and again, and now we have come to this stage as human beings also. And now human beings have to just go through a little breakthrough, that's all. It's not purposeless.
So what happens to me when I die? What happens to my soul? Does it immediately goes to another human being that is...
No, it depends on how. Now you become your own master. If you want to be born again, if you want to save more people, you may be born again. If you don't want to be born again, you need not be born again. It's your desire. Then you become the master of yourself. You decide what you want to do.
what do you want to say to my readers?
No?
To my readers, to the people that I'm writing the article, the interview that we have.
I should say they must now take their realization the time has come. I call it a blossom time. It's a great chance. It's a very great thing that's happening all over the world and should happen. And the Greeks who have come from Greece should not lose their moorings and their traditions and should get their realization.
Now, I would like to hear, if you don't mind, some of your stories, how you got up in life.
All right. Shall we do that?
Shirley, is it possible to have a photo? Do you mind, by the way, if your photo appears? I'm a journalist. I write a feature article for a Greek newspaper with a quite significant circulation. And do you mind having your photos appear there and telling people what happened to you and you don't? Oh, good. Okay. Could you take a photo of Cheryl while she's talking to me? I'm sorry, this seems very sort of business-like.
Would you like me to sit just here?
Yes.
Well, I received my realisation 10 years ago. I was a very hectic person. Very busy, hectic. I had a lot of a very busy mind.
Good. Take your chair there. Better take her chair. This would be nice for her.
Very busy mind.
Excuse me.
No, it's okay.
More comfortable.
No. And after I received my realisation through the grace of Shri Mataji, I felt it all happened within me. And the next morning I woke up and I didn't have any problems. Like it was as if all my problems had just vanished. I gave up smoking overnight, I gave up drinking overnight, I gave up swearing. All these really gross things that I used to do just vanished. And I didn't know that it had actually happened, but other people said to me, you don't swear anymore and you don't do this anymore. And it was just so amazing, and I felt really peaceful inside. And
it happened overnight.
for me, it
Show
was
Cheryl's photographs too. Cheryl's photographs. That
Well, with the light.
I'll show you. And then I developed this realisation over 9 months without even meeting Shri Mataji, because I was given it by a person. And I went to India, and while I was in India, I took these photographs of Shri Mataji, which they will show you. And when we had them developed, it was just absolute great beams of light just radiating down upon her that Kodak looked at and they couldn't explain. They tried to say we had stained glass windows above her so the light came down, but there was just nothing. And 10 years later, here I am, improving every day, I hope.
So, how do you face the problems that you have?
Well, I don't think I have nearly as many problems as I used to. They just, it's like within you begin to know yourself, and when you do something wrong, it's like it's an innate knowing that you've done something wrong and you've got the means to fix it through your realisation. It's like you sort of
Kind of look at things in a more calm way, and
much calmer.
it's more
Detachment.
detachment.
It's like a drama going on, and if you get caught up in it, you suddenly see, in the middle, what am I doing? It's all just a drama.
Well, in the beginning, I was just interested in yogas, and I went to quite a few yogas,
the other one.
and I
She,
saw the advertisement for
she was the first to get it.
about 1,000 people.
Oh.
I mean,
In the series she got
that
them.
was
Yeah.
very
But in the village, just think of it.
and she seemed extremely interested, which seemed very good. She was devastating when she was the other thing that struck me most was that she seemed an extremely lovely person. Very more than I've met. Well, I got it there that night, and tomorrow night when you come and read this stuff, I'll get the realisation as
Why?
well.
Why we put another one on this one?
That's, yeah, you can get it. I think she said she'd give it.
Take it out. It's so uncomfortable.
Cheryl's just gone to see other photographs of Sahaja.
Yeah, but that's too much work. Just show her this much.
Yeah?
This much is all done.
Oh, well, that's right.
That will be too much. I can't say there are many miraculous photographs also.
Needs a new book. I have to buy her one for her birthday.
You show her this.
This is a big one.
Yes, I'm laughing.
Enjoy life. Through that enjoyment, it's able to build such mountain for people around you.
How? What? Where are you going to? Where are you going to send the interview?
It's for the afternoon newspaper, the Melbourne Herald, Shri Mataji. For the afternoon newspaper, the Melbourne Herald, I wrote a gardening column for them and they asked me to interview them.
So here we are in the garden.
But is it facing it?
And we've already, this garden's already appeared in it.
Yes, and they would
Last night, Maddie, you promised Fran not to laugh. She's already broken the promise.
I said I'd try.
The book is very good. You gave me the book you wrote, if you remember, a long time back. It's very good. You should come and see our garden in Pratishtha. It requires a lot of understanding, and I have no time to look after it. But all these flowers can come there, I think. All of them could be.
Go ahead. Should you take a photo of me and Bruno?
Yes.
I show her this one that she would like to. She say,
This is the one in New Zealand in the honey. The puja, the North Island of New Zealand, in the honey.
Really. I made in England the other day. In England.
That's the Sahaja ones.
Here there are three. One, two, three. This is the Kundalini. There are two. But actually in another photograph, this one more you see. 1, 2, and 3.
That's upside down.
Here that's one.
2, 3. And that's the 4.
The 4 ring of vibration. Also there are 3. 1, 2, and 3, but slight.
Fantastic, isn't it?
These are bones actually. A little bit, I think. It's just magic.
We'll get this on photograph.
Cameras are clever.
That was the one. Is that the one
Oh.
for the dainties above the...
No.
No?
These are all on your head. This is my name. Written in Urdu language. It's my name. On their heads.
Fantastic.
No, not this one. That's another one. That this year they were going to give you.
Sorry, that's the one in the bedroom in the pitch black. Look how...
Look at that. I remember.
That was dark.
Is that the window?
This was the window, but everything was just really black and there was no flash. So it shouldn't have really come out by rights.
I know. This is remarkable, eh? This one, of course, was bad.
That's beautiful.
This we have. This one is tremendous. No, that's not one of the deities. They were going to give you in the, I think I'll ask them, they have enlarged for Ganpati Puri. They must have given to some people, I'm sure. Very enlarged ones. doesn't say that. Who are deities?
I think there is some in Sydney, Shri.
Huh?
I think they've reached Sydney, but I don't think they've
Might
got.
be, I'll see there. They can make copies. So I'm sitting here and all of them sitting is wonderful. And the way they are, there are also angels, and you can see also the ganas, and every bride, they have got divine flowers, beautiful flowers falling on them. And the boys also are all having vibrations on top. That's what is your marriage is. I wanted to talk to him about Taiwan. See what they told me. What's the name of the gentleman from New York?
New York, I think it's Nelson. Nelson So.
Yeah. And he wanted me to go to Taiwan. But what I told him, that first of all you people go there and work it out. Then I'll come, because this just raw just now, no one will know that. So they said yes, but I said I'll fix a. They said May is a good month for Taiwan. Is it a good month for Taiwan, May?
Shri Mother, it's very mild and pleasant. Maybe a little humid, but very mild and pleasant. Very mild.
Is it?
Very mild.
What do you think is the best month for Taiwan to go to?
Well,
November?
I think, you see, it's been 5 years or 6 years since I've been there. I remember basically is the bad months are summer, from late May until early September. It's not only warm but very very humid. That's when they're rainy months, and they're
Early December will be alright?
yeah, it certainly will be alright by November. The heat is all gone by the end of September. The hot months are all
See,
gone.
because I'm coming to India on the say 18th of December, and before that I could go there and then go from there to India would be much better.
Yes, Shri Mother.
And you'll have more time to work it out.
Yes, Shri Mother.
Can you write to him about it?
Yes, Shri Mother.
And
get in
I'll
touch
also
with
talk
you.
to him from England
Yes, Shri Mother.
and fix it up like this. First I said I'll come in April, but then I can also go to Singapore, to Malaysia. Malaysia now we have 30 people. They came at the airport, I was surprised. 30 of them.
Yep.
All Chinese. Very beautiful. If Chinese take to it, they can go very far. And also Toronto we have lots of Chinese. Vancouver we have lots of Chinese now. New York now we have some, not many, but they're very dynamic. So if you think it all right, then we'll do it in the early December time,
Yes, Mother.
on my way to India.
May I ask you, Mother, is it an auspicious time for me to go to Taiwan?
Beg pardon?
Is it auspicious time for me to go to Taiwan yet?
Should be before just I go. If you could go there and find out what you can work it out, or you can go earlier and again you can go. But you better talk to him and both of you consult what you can do. I've been to Taiwan once. I've been there. I think the Chinese are alright even in China. They're very good people. But this news nonsense that has come has spoiled the image of China. But the government has tremendous respect for me. Whenever I went there, they respected me. They were very kind to me. But as far as Sahaja Yoga is concerned, I don't know how far they will react. Can't say.
The Chinese in Taiwan are easier than
Much easier.
than
Because
other
there's no
overseas.
suppression on them. They're not suppressed people. And they're doing well now because lots of people are using their labor and things much better. You came from where? Which part?
From Kuala Lumpur. From
Kuala Lumpur. But I was surprised there are 30 of them now.
they're all very new, are they?
But very good, very dedicated. And the children know how to give realization, they know the mantras and everything. So beautiful. NG has done that. Indians are horrible in Kuala Lumpur, horrible. They have all kinds of funny problems. And I said to give up Indians. You see, Indians are like uprooted people. Anyway, when they are uprooted from India, they become very fun. I always say a mango tree, if you take it to England, it won't give you mangoes, but also not give you an apple. It's like that, a useless thing.
It's not that we have an Indian man who comes to one of the programs at John's house, and he is from Kuala Lumpur also. And he was just in Kuala Lumpur.
He's Chinese?
No, Indian.
I see.
And he was there last month, and he got in some quite serious trouble with a lot of the other Indians there who are
Very
TM
good.
or one other.
All kinds of false people have gone there. They were stupid, absolutely stupid.
He tried to tell everybody about Sahaja Yoga, and the TM people got him. So he,
No, but Chinese are very good. Chinese are very good in Kuala Lumpur. Extremely alert. Yes. Are you satisfied with that?
Yes.
So would you like to have your realization?
Yes.
All right. Let her take out her shoes, please. You can sit on the chair now. Please, be seated. Give her the chair, please. Just, if you can face me here, it will be better. No, on the chair. Yes, please. Now, put your hands like this towards me. That's all. Just see on her head if it's already there. Got it already. Feeling the cool breeze already.
It's tingling.
Feet are tingling, but hands, because you got down from there, but hands you got the cool breeze. I don't doubt if they are on the fingertips. Yeah. You got it so fast. You're also a very hard-working person, despite the fact you are emotional. But you must forgive. Must forgive people. That's very important. Just say I forgive. Don't think of them who they are, or anything. Just say I forgive everyone. Just say in your heart, I just forgive them. Just say that. Good. And you are relaxed. No thought. Watch me without thinking. You can do it. Listen to it. You see, as a seed, you can put it in the mother earth. It sprouts by itself. So you are built in within. It's within you. Sahaja means born with you. Is there? Only this yoga, the union with the divine, has to take place. That works out. See now. I told you, Greeks are very good. They're wonderful. Wonderful people. Alright, may God bless you. But you must know what it is, and you must understand what it is and how to work it out, how to help people. It's wonderful. You should see these people again. Can you give us some address of yours where we are going to have the program today and tomorrow?
There is one thing I'd like to show you just before you
Can I
go.
just borrow your notepad here?
You were just interviewing Bruno, and the necklace that Francis is wearing is Bruno's work, and that's his.
What's it?
Bruno's work, another.
Really?
Bruno, yeah.
You made it? It's wonderful, man.
He's a very beautiful jeweler.
Yeah, all have become so dynamic. I must say, you must show her the ceramics these Yogis have made. Beautiful ceramics they have made, just the jewelry. Greek style.
So fun.
Last year, as an apprentice, we had the opportunity to
remarkable. And there are people who never knew much of ceramic have done such good work. Did you? Then I got it. Huh?
She has a pamphlet with the addresses.
Show me. You must see this. Cheryl is the one who got all these photographs. Now we have many more, but you should see. And many more like this. You show her the others. This one, not this. The ones.
While you are talking, exactly?
Well,
In a village.
in a village, in an Indian village. And
Oh, there are photographs and photographs. And you'll be amazed.
so these are started off fine, and then it got bigger and bigger. Some more. Yeah. And then at the end, Mother put her hand up and stopped the light, and then after that, there was no more light. And just this row of.
There's so many photographs like this that will be amazed, and we'll show you later on. But you must join this and you must develop it. There's the photograph in the dark you took.
Mataji, one of the other ladies in Melbourne, who was also at this program, took some photographs. She has them in her album, but there's no light. And they're all virtually the same photograph.
I know.
Except no light.
That photograph was taken in a pitch black room with no light whatsoever, just as an experiment, and that's how it turned out. No flash, it was just a really
You can
dark.
show her the Sastara, it's also possible. She has some photographs, but we have so many of them. And the one which is with the on the heart, this light.
In a subtle sense, you know, the camera takes photos of the different lights that emit from us.
On top of their heads.
Heads. On top of everybody's heads. Now, this one here, this is Shri Mother. This is in Austria, was it?
Where?
The one where the Sarah.
No. This was in Italy.
Italy.
Yeah.
So
We were
this
going on a
was-
boat.
This was number one. Then number two. This is all in a row. Then went number three. Number four. And then number five was, this was all coming from Shri Mataji. This is the Sarah.
This is the day when the last center was open, the 7th center. And they wanted to have the celebration on the 6th, but it was on the 5th. So they said 6th is a Sunday, everybody will be there. And we were in a boat. Suddenly this happened. One fellow got it. Everybody doesn't get.
And this, and Shri Mataji's just here, and that's just
This
what
is
you
my
see.
head.
She
And
just,
these look like, when we enlarge them, they look like as if the bones are cut. You see, little things, these.
that's all coming. And this is the sort of photographs that
This
are
one is also there, one with the light in the
light
heart.
coming from her heart chakra.
This was in the Ganpati Puri.
Yeah, this one here with the light from her heart?
It's from Ganpati Puri.
Ganapatapuli.
It's on the seashore.
Would you
in
like
India.
this for your paper? Can she print in her paper?
Yes, why not?
Why not?
Which part?
But this is in India, in Ganpati Puri, yes.
And that's
Were you meeting people there, or you were on your own?
No, we had some people also around. They just took my photograph.
and that just like
One is there on the hand. Now recently there's one behind me. Then another one on my feet is the moon. It's a complete moon.
there's lots and lots. We haven't got them all here, but we've seen. This one here was in New Zealand, and Shri Mataji made the map of, this is yogurt and that's honey, and the map of the North Island of New Zealand appeared. You know what the North Island of New Zealand looks like in the honey.
Also in England, in the whole of England came in.
Came into the
Yeah.
honey, yes, in the yoga.
And the one, the faces come in the clouds.
Oh, and
Mother's face, and
Yeah.
you can see it in the clouds. Everything, even
Even
gaps
I-
in her
teeth, and also I used to wear this thing here. That also came in. I don't know if you have that one.
And somebody just took a photo of the clouds. No, it's up in Sydney. They've got a big enlargement, and there you are with this and this. And that.
Are you mother's companion?
Oh, we are children.
So there's many more miracle photos like that. But
Somehow the camera sees things more than people can see.
And how long tomorrow's lecture is going to last?
It takes about 1 hour to explain everything, because somebody else will say something and then I'll say. And then about 15 minutes for realization only. You took hardly any time. You just open your hands and you got it. So the people are good like you, it will take only 1 second. They have to be like you. Seekers. You see, they have to be truthful people. Seekers, it works out. But supposing they are sick or something, there's conditionings, this, that. It takes little time, but not much. गेले तिला धावपळ करू नको म्हणा जास्त. Her sister has come all the way, but she's busy with me. I said, you go and see her. She said, no, mother, I will be with you. Her sister has come all the way from India, but she wants to be with me. All love, you see, just love. And that is feels so protected. And God loves you. See, He doesn't want you to suffer. This is a nonsensical idea of Christianity. Actually, recently, Thomas, when on his way to India, was in Egypt, and he wrote all the treatises about Christ and put it in a big jar. They opened it, and in that they found so many things written, just what I say. He said, God doesn't want you to suffer. Christ has suffered for you. You don't have to suffer. So the whole thing is absolutely challenging the theories that you must suffer for God. It's all nonsense. Why should you suffer? He is your father. No father wants his children to suffer. He is the father of all the fathers. Why will he want you to suffer? It's illogical.
And the priests say that it's a sin to go to have a good time. Like on Saturday, you're not allowed to go out and have a good time because next day you have to go to church. What do you think about that?
Nothing of the kind. You see, Sunday is for enjoyment actually. All these things are, I don't know why they say you are sinners. This is not the way to talk to people, I mean, to make them feel miserable. And the first condition in Sahaja Yoga, you are not to feel guilty for anything. After all,
Even if you do something
wrong
bad?
doesn't matter. After all, you are a human being. God cannot do wrong, but human beings can do. So it's all right. At a human level, it's all right. Once you get your enlightenment, then you don't do wrong things. So you are excused. Forgiveness is there. You have to be completely forgiven. You see, this all-pervading power of God's love is an ocean of forgiveness. What can we commit mistakes? All the time to feel guilty. It's all money-making proposition, I think. That you have committed sins, all right, to pay us the money and sins will be wiped out. Common with every religion, even in India. They do the same thing. Now you committed a sin. All right, you give us these things. So we'll tell God, and it will be all cleared out.
If you confess, yes, you confess, and
See,
your sins will be wiped out.
Well, after all, we must understand God. He's love. He's love, and he understands human beings. He loves them. He doesn't go on punishing all the time. That's not his job. Actually, we in our stupidity, we are the ones who create problems. He does not. For each other.
How many hours do you sleep?
Not many.
It's a strange question.
Very little.
Very little.
Also, I eat very little, sleep very little. Also, you see, I don't need much sleep. I'm quite full of energy. I'm now 67 years of age.
Amazing.
And I travel so much. Last night must have slept at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock we must have slept.
Up again 3 hours later.
So
Yeah.
you
I
have
was out.
an average of 5-6 hours sleep per night? An average?
Daytime, I sleep for a while. Always. Little bit. But night time, I can keep awake. And I can travel. I have no problems of this jet lag and all that. Never I have these problems. Supposing I am traveling now, some people who travel, they have to adjust to the timing. The timing adjusts according to myself. There's no problem. Nothing.
So you
Traveling is no problem. I travel such a lot I travel. But I don't think there's anything wrong with traveling, wrong with ourselves. Because you just think you are there. You are there, that's all. Whether you are traveling or sitting at home or going anywhere, you are there, that's all. Why to think you are traveling? If you start your traveling, then you start feeling that, oh, something you have done. You've done nothing, you're just there.
And where do you get all this energy from?
That's what
Where do you get all this energy that
it's coming. This is there, all pervading. You are connected to the mains now. You should have given her some tea or something like that. Chaha we have? Or would you like to have some cold drink?
No, I'm fine, thanks.
What?
I'm fine.
Some
Nothing.
tea?
No, thanks. No.
Something? Anything right. You have come to mother's house. Let her have something.
Okay, I'll have a
I
cup
think
of
you have
tea,
something
thanks.
good to drink.
I'll have a cup of tea, thank you.
You need something else?
Yes, Mother. When I was making it, Mother, my intentions were to make it for you, actually.
Let me see.
I ended up coming in Australia.
You won the first prize out of all the Australian apprentices
Really?
in jewellery making.
त्याचं लग्न झालं ह्या वर्षी
Today?
संगमनेरची मुलगी आहे चव्हाण म्हणून काय त्याचं नाव
Asa? Mali the combination is tremendous. But the central one is not the real stone.
This one,
It's real?
real emerald.
All of them are real stones.
Diamonds?
This emerald is real.
The emerald,
Very delicate, I must say. It's a very delicate thing you have done. Really.
Yes, your designs are very delicate and
The combinations.
and
you
they
see.
have a rhythm.
Just have it on. It's very delicate.
so I was offered to support me in it. And once I won the piece, I bought it after I made it.
What is the material around
It's
the
marble, it's the
You know where the
आणि
pearl
अर्चनाचं वंश
Huh?
अर्चनाचं वंश
inside layer of the shell. Sometimes it's shaped like that, so I just
Archana.
came up with the
How is
creation
she
of sitting
Photo पाहिला? Photo पाहिला की नाही? नंतर बघ.
Congratulations.
हो?
आणि दुसरा दोघं जण आमच्या तिकडे
संगमनेरची.
ती संगमनेरची
हं. बरोबर.
Yeah. Are you going to interview? Yes. Can I stay? Can I hear?
I have some questions now that I'd like to put.
Do you have cottage? Really?
Yes, very big problem in Australia and in Melbourne.
You're spending quite a lot of money trying to research it, Shri Mother.
They won't believe me if I tell them the truth.
That's why I hoped, Mother, if we could find a way of explaining.
Yes, of course, we can, but will they listen to me? I don't know if they'll listen to me.
Once it's in the air, it must help.
All right. And the first question is, why was Melbourne chosen for the initial spiritual education experiment? It was not chosen, it was Sahaj, you see.
I don't know that the readers of the Herald will understand it.
You see, in the sense that we had a building and we had students, we had teachers. So naturally the whole thing worked out. Moreover, I think Melbourne has a temperate climate, in the sense that people are not extremist also here. There are many people who do not drink and go to extremes, and I mean good parents. They are temperate because of their children, see. So that was also a good thing. They were good parents, yeah. Yes, it has been tried elsewhere. We have one in Dharamshala, which is at the foothill of Himalayas. That's one school. One in Delhi. One in Rome. One now in Milan. Now another we are starting near Bombay, Vashi, and Vaitarna ultimately. Why did you choose again Russia and why have they accepted so readily? Again, I never chose it, as far as I know. It so happened that it's just a chance. One of the Sahaja Yogis, Yogi Mahajan, he met an ambassador, Russian ambassador, in Delhi, who asked him, how are you so peaceful and relaxed and all that? Who is your guru, sort of thing? And he said about Sahaja Yoga. Because they were surprised. He was in a party and everybody was getting drunk and saying all kinds of things. So they were surprised at him, the way he was looking at everyone and the way he was absolutely so dignified. Then they asked the question, you see. And he said that such and such thing. Then he said, can't she come to India, to Russia? And there was one minister that time there, who also was interested. And they both got realization.
A Russian minister, Shri.
The minister, yes, he got realization. He was amazed that how could Yogi, another just a disciple, Sahaja Yoga, could give realization. So he told him, can we get Shri Mataji here to Russia? That's all. And we arranged the timing. I was there. We had some Russians in London. Magdon, you know. He actually is an he is an Australian, but he's Russian and also he's a doctor. So went him first. We sent him first. Few people went there, and they worked it out. And I was surprised that they were as if they were waiting for me. You know, there were 2,000 people on the first program we went to, outside, and 2,000 inside. And they said, no, we cannot go inside because there's no room. My lecture lasted for about 1.5 hours or so. And then realization of that, I came out. And I find they were all sitting there still waiting for me. They said, now what about us? So I said, all right, you come here and we'll have the program outside. Next day in the morning, the 2,000 outside ones and the 2,000 inside ones, all of them were there. And then the second question is that
did the Russian government become interested in Sahaja Yoga teachings and applying it to their education system from there?
yeah, they did. You see, to begin with, we have got 3 doctors who have got MD in Delhi. They are very open-minded people as far as the scientific side is concerned. And they were surprised at the papers we produced. And also we have so many people cured in Sahaja Yoga. But when they saw all these things, you see, they just said we must have it here on the medical terms. And the doctor who was the head of the health ministry invited us to his office. And he said that I'll give you an independent charge and do what you like. But this is the easiest because you don't have to pay for anything. You get cured. I mean, this is something they could not understand. So he gave us an independent charge on the medical side. Then I think somebody visited the school in Delhi, perhaps. I don't know what happened. But they wanted very much the school on the side. Because they are having the same problems as you have with the children. They have drug problem. There are parents who are separated and children are becoming quite violent. All the same problems as you have. So they wanted to change the lives of the children. And they asked us if we could take over one school. They are willing to give us a big building, students, everything, and free passage to the teachers, and also payment to them, and to me also. I said, I don't need to have money, I get. No, we would like to pay for you. So the whole thing is so spontaneous, as if they have found something very great they know. And that's what they wanted to implement.
Can you explain the nature of what is so different about Sahaja Yoga education than normal education?
Other schools.
Yes.
You see, in other schools, they just give mental studies to children, only mental. But they don't teach them to respect themselves and to respect others. Minimum of minimum they should have taught. That is not there. They don't even respect the teachers. Also, the teachers may not be of that quality to command that respect. Possibly, I don't know what is the situation. Now, in Sahaja Yoga, when the children come in, first of all, they are all given realization. Their parents are given realization. As a result, there's a transformation. And children become extremely obedient, respectful, sensible, tolerant. They're so beautiful. And as you know, there are many children these days born are realized souls. So they also have a place to go to. Even Russia has so many children.
Could you explain what realized souls, children born realized souls?
Realized soul children are those who are in connection with all-pervading power.
How does this make them different?
Because that transforms them completely. They become righteous and they become so powerful. They are not afraid of anything. At the same time, they become compassionate because these are the powers of this all-pervading power.
Is there a way of helping people understand how these children are being born now and what their purpose is?
I mean, many people don't know these children. You see, they are born to them. They don't understand them, why children behave like this, why they react like this, why this is like, if you see to the Freudian theories are all absurd, that if a child puts a finger in the mouth, he says it's sex. It's not. He's trying to show that this is the center is catching in you or in him. They don't understand how to depict it. So everything goes to sex, you see. It's not true. So they are brought up in the right perspective with love, affection and respect. In all these schools, we respect the children and teach them that you are now yogis. You have your own dignity and you have to behave like a yogi. You can't behave like ordinary stray dogs. And then they understand the difference. You shouldn't go on barking at people. They understand that we are human beings, we are not dogs. So the way we teach them also, the whole system is such a system that they develop their own dignity, serenity, their deeper personality. And they mature very fast. Mature. They're very mature people.
How would ordinary parents out there discover if their children are these born realized children?
From everything. First of all, they don't tell lies. They don't steal things. They're very satisfied, contented. But they stand against injustice. I'll give an example of my own granddaughter. They went down to Ladakh. My son-in-law, he's written this book about Himalayas. So they went to Ladakh. And there was one lama sitting on a mount and talking something, wearing some sort of a big choga, as we call them. And everybody was bowing to her. This girl couldn't bear it, you see. But still she was watching. She was hardly 5 years. And then she saw her parents, because out of everybody's touching his feet, so they also went and bowed. Then she couldn't bear it. You see, she went and stood before him like this with her hands. He said, "Hey, you, the one who is wearing such a long dress, you are not a realized soul. Why are you making everybody touch your feet?" And these two parents were so embarrassed. Also once we had a meeting. They invited me as a chief guest for this Raman Maharshi, who was a realized soul. And all his disciples are hopelessly bad, but they had invited somebody from Ramakrishna Ashram who was wearing the same sort of a dress and sitting next to me. So the another granddaughter they were all sitting in the front line. So many Sahaja Yogis had come. So she suddenly got up, she said, "Oh grandmother, please ask this man with the maxi to get out. He is emitting so much of heat, we can't bear it." And he's supposed to bring Vivekananda there, sitting there. His name was Akhandanand. He later on he got cancer and died also. So that's how they behave. Their behavior is something very unique. And they have great affection and compassion, right attitude. But people find them absurd because if there are girls and boys, they don't like to have dates and things like that. They don't indulge into sex before marriages, and they don't have. They're very innocent.
How can parents nurture these children and look after them and protect them?
Parents must get the realization to understand these children, you see. Actually, these children have ventured to be born to people like that. It's rather dangerous. Mostly they are born to people who are Sahajayogis. All Sahajayogis get children like that. All Sahajayogis.
Will there be another school in Melbourne for these children?
Oh, we should try, I've been telling you. We should try to have one more, would be a good idea. School is very important. These children, I look at them. The society is so bad. They were telling me children under 12 also take drugs here, you see. It's such a challenging society. And these children will be lost. If you have a proper school, it will help everyone.
What do you see as the future in Russia now? Will they settle down to a different form of government?
Of course they will. See, there are two types of people in Russia, I found out. There are people who are taxi drivers and ordinary labor class and all that kind of people. And there are very well educated people also. Very well educated, intelligent people, very well read, professionals, doctors, very enlightened people as far as education is concerned. So these drivers and all that, they hanker after, and if you go there, they'll ask for an American cigarette, so things like that. Their level is different, but most of these people, they just want their spirit. Now these Muslim, what's they are called as? What's they called as? Azerbaijan. They were, when I had gone to Russia earlier also, they were really rolling in complete wealth. They had big beds that we call takatsa, as big as this. And under the grape wines, you see, wines. And they would take out the grapes and eat like, you see, once upon a time, the Greeks would do the same style, you see, lordly. And we'll have hookahs and all that to smoke. While on the other side, the Afghanis, poor things, are poor people. And there were very rich people there, I saw, in the sense that food and wines and drinks and everything, clothes. Russians have very good clothes also. Very cheap. You won't believe how cheap the clothes are. Everything's so very cheap there, so very cheap. Traveling is 5p for miles together. Beautiful trains. Now the problem came in when Gorbachev came, that the bureaucrats didn't want democracy because they'll be losing the power. So they created this problem, artificial power. This is just an artificial problem. They have lots of food, they have everything. But what Gorbachev has found out, that unless and until you have incentives, people don't want to produce food. And in Russia, everybody gets a house. Everybody. As soon as you get married, you get a flat. And they have no idea. They think that in the West, it's all paved with gold. See. They think like that, which is not. So their life was not such a struggling one. But he felt that after some time the incentive to work would go away and was a little bit diminishing also. They couldn't produce sufficient food and things like that. Their interest changed. So he thought his best is to bring democracy, by which people will feel that this is their own land and they should work it out and they should have incentives.
Australia is in the middle of a federal election campaign. Do you feel that there are any enlightened politicians among our lot?
I think New Zealand had one. But he's no more now. I don't know where is he gone.
He's retired.
Well, he's still in the government there, Mother, but he's taken another post other than Prime Minister.
He's taken another.
He's Minister, I think he's Attorney General or something like that, rather than Prime Minister, Mother.
They must have tortured his life. He's alone. You see, for that you have to have many people. I don't know. Just pray you get somebody like that.
I work for two politicians as well. I work for a state politician and a federal one, so they're nice people. I hope that
Better give them realization.
I've spoken to them about you, but they're still a little bit standoffish. So, could we talk about the matter of ordination of women is
I mean, absurd. Absolutely absurd. You see, I asked my father why at least Martin Luther should have brought forth the role of Christ's mother. Why didn't he do that? And he said perhaps this was expediency on his part, because he thought that time they were Muslims and Muslims would not accept a woman to be something like that. So just to please the Muslims, he must have done it. I said this is the biggest mistake, because women are the Shaktis, they are the power, they are the potential power. And to say they cannot have ordination, I mean, is absurd, absolutely. Actually, all this is the work of the primordial mother of Athena. Also to say there is Holy Ghost like a dove is another misleading point. You have Father, alright? You have the Son as God. What about the Mother? Logically, that's the Mother, you see, which we call as the Holy Ghost is the Mother. And Christ has said, I will sending you the Holy Ghost. How can he send the Holy Ghost? Is he going to send a dove from there or what? It's more with the Catholics or with the Protestants also?
It's the Anglican Church, Shri. It split them in half, the issue of women.
Anglican are from where? From England?
Yes, yes. And it's very big religion in Melbourne, very strong.
In fact, today, Shri Mother, they're electing a new Archbishop today.
Yoga. But they are funny people, I must say.
The last Archbishop was in favour of ordination, and he had a heart attack and died recently.
They have gone too far in England. There was this Bishop of York, and this Bishop of York is a person who started talking about Christ as a human being. It's all Pauline Christianity, which is being challenged everywhere. Even I read a book that Christ was in India. There also he talks of Pauline Christianity. It's all Pauline Christianity. See? And Paul, I don't know why he didn't want any woman to be there. He himself was epileptic. He died of epilepsy. According to us, he was just a supraconscious stuff, organizing the religion. And when this shock fellow said all kinds of nonsensical things about Christ, you see, this Archbishop of Canterbury honored him in that church. And after that, that church was burnt by, you know that. And that too in such a way, they said, that the electrical charge of this lightning was looming around. People could see it. That church, but most of it. So they say that, see the grace of God, that the lower part was not burnt. And this Bishop of Canterbury was very much somehow impressed by Sahaja Yoga once upon a time, I would say. And also he sent his advisor to my program. I didn't know he was sitting there. That day I don't know why I lashed out at Paul, how he has ruined Christianity, how he came back as Augustine and all that. I said all kinds of things. And the fellow was so upset. He went out and people asked, how are you? He said, I'm appalled. Because I said against Paul, he said, I'm appalled. I said, this is no Christianity. Another person who's talked against him is Khalilji Brown. Paul. He said, I can't understand this strange man. But despite all that, this Christianity can only have some sort of a social organization, a club, that's all. It is not bothered about spiritual life at all. It doesn't stop anybody from doing anything wrong. Just by saying you are Christians, you don't become. You have to be actually baptized. Actualization of the baptized. Baptism is through your fontanel bone. You must get the Holy Ghost coming out. And the early Christians were called as Gnostics. Those who knew about it, they didn't have these problems. And Thomas in his treatise didn't write about it. When is it written there should be no ordination? Who has written this in the Bible? Forget Paul part. Even I don't think Paul has written that.
There are a lot of organisations now calling themselves born-again Christians, and they put their hand on people's forehead and they collapse backwards and then become very strange.
Christ must be doing that to them.
They just pass out on the floor, and then when they wake up, they speak in strange tongues.
You see, if you do not go to reality, to your super consciousness, either you will go to the collective subconscious or to the collective supraconscious. If you go to the collective subconscious, you become like that, you get possessed. They are all possessed. Or you go to the collective supraconscious in which you see light, this, that. You don't become the light. You just see the light.
Would you mind speaking about cot deaths?
About
The cot death syndrome. Cot deaths. The last question.
God deaths. Will they believe me if I tell?
I don't know, Mother. I'd just love to try because.
You see, there are so many mediums in your country who are calling spirits and this planchette and what you call them also.
Ouija boards.
Huh?
Ouija boards.
They are more than your insects, I think, in number. Because the first few who came to me in Sahaja Yoga, all were infected by that. Now, when you start calling the spirits and all that, when the children are sleepy, actually the culture is funny, that the children should sleep outside and the dogs must sleep inside the bedrooms. And we can't believe it. Can you believe in China such a thing? They put the little sweet little children outside the bed, and the dogs are inside the bed.
Children in China, don't they eat dogs?
Chinese what?
Eat dogs.
Eat dogs. That's better than to keep them in the bedroom. Alright. So, what happens? The child is outside. He's fast asleep. When he sleeps from his subconscious area, these people can, when they are using those dead spirits and everything, they may just possess. It's a long story actually, to tell you the truth. It's the soul. The soul is on our back. And this, you have seen after realization, you can see them. Little loops like that. You have seen many times. Also you have seen Chaitanya, you have seen the power also that way. Now I have told you that these are the dead souls. And these are the dead souls because our soul, which is on our back, goes into 7 loops and is reflected on our cells. There's a reflector on our cell which is called as receptor. And all remote control in the body is done by that soul. All remote controls like ductless glands and things like that, the reflex actions and everything done by the soul. And soul is the causal of all the elements, and it looks after the protection of the spinal cord and the brain and of the human being from evil spirits and things like that. Now when these people die who have got dissatisfied minds and who are cruel, who are ambitious, who are sly, they hang around. And when their soul jumps on our soul, they start controlling. Now it depends on what center they are controlling. Now the proof has come out also scientifically. They have seen on the receptor of a cell the 7 loops, and they can't explain. Exactly the same that you see. If you see the picture of that, Dr. Misra has brought it out. Exactly the same. So when the children are sleeping in the night, you see, these souls capture them and take away their souls with them. Because after all, they're very small children. But the child is dead. They are let loose by these mediums. But the children should sleep with parents. Then they are protected.
There's one more question I'd like to ask. You once said that people who had poliomyelitis, they were seekers, and it was an attack on the seekers.
Yeah.
Well, now there's...
Polio, I would say.
Yes. People who had polio are now having a new problem. When the virus had gone away originally, the anterior horn cells on the spinal cord regrew, but the regrowth only lasted for about 30 years, and now it's dying away, or something is happening to it, and people who had polio are getting strange fatigues, not able to recover quickly from operations, having muscle cramps and pains, and it's affecting about 50% of people who've had polio. That is, in America it would be about 300,000 people, and in Australia quite a lot also, several thousand. And
Same thing. Same the mediums, you see.
Is it?
In America there's an openly, it's freedom, no? You can have witchcraft. All kinds of false gurus are there. Here too.
There are 3 Sahajayogis in Melbourne alone who have had polio and are suffering these symptoms.
Oh, that we can correct. That we can correct. That's no problem. That's only Muladhara we'll have to work it out. You see, the hit on the Muladhara. That can be correct. That can be correct. With the Sahaja we can, but not non-Sahaja. Day before yesterday, we cured a 8 patient, husband and wife, cured them. But I told them you have to have willpower now, because I have cured before also. You remember that? But they go back to the same bad habits. Now they are married, so there's not such a problem. But I said you have to, and he was a policeman to begin with, this fellow. I said if you can just have your willpower, we'll get you perfectly all right. The faces were changed, they looked so good. So AIDS is curable with one candle, both of them.
But is there something specific that we can do for this polio?
Yeah, we can work it out.
Because it's affecting me. And
To say that the virus is gone is wrong. The virus is still there. We have to take out the virus, that's all. It's not difficult.
It's affecting Peter Batten and Dorothy Brown, who's a new Sahaja Yoga in Hillsville, and myself.
They were not surgeries before.
Before they had polio. It's come on since while they've been Sahaja Yogis too, and for me.
No, they got polio before or not?
As children.
As children they got it.
Now it's affecting people in their late and middle age. So 30 years after the disease is...
Polio get cured also in Sahaja Yoga. Not after a certain age, but children and all that, they get cured of polio. We'll see them. We'll see. There are so many other new diseases which I described before, like Yepes disease, you see, is another one. And it has come now. I told them about 3-4 years back. I told them about AIDS. And now I told them about Yepes disease. It has come. Where the people are overactive, this, that. Now the conscious mind doesn't work. Anything you want to do consciously you cannot do. Unconsciously you can do it. Very serious disease. When if you want to get up, say, from your chair, you cannot. But unconsciously you can do it. It's a very common disease. Then overactivity of the children, speediness of the children, so many things that are coming. That I told them, they won't listen to me, especially in France. Because of Sartre, was another fellow who talked about willpower, that you must have, your will is everything and sex is nothing. I mean, sex is there, but emotions is nothing. So it put people on the right side. As a result, now this EFP business has started. They have to be in balance. All right?
Yes, thank you.
Can I ask you one question,
Yeah.
Mother? What do you think of the equality, talking about balance, what do you think of the equality of two sexes?
Quality?
Between men and women?
Yeah.
What are your views on
You
that
see,
subject?
man and women are like two wheels of a chariot. One is on the left, another is on the right. So one has to be emotional, another has to be more mental. One has to be emotional because they are left-sided women, and the men have to be mental. It's important. You have to have two wheels, and you can't fix left to the right and right to the left. So they are as they are. It's perfect. They are equal, but not similar.
And what do you think of all these movements towards equality?
You see, women should understand that they are complementary to men. And they should know how to handle men. It's a trick.
How can they be equal when they are complementary to me? From my understanding, it means that it's something that helps, supports, but you're not on the same standard.
No, in nature they are different. See. But they are